we have a mentally ill person, a Florida man, a supposed Latino homosexual, and an African to all team up together to try to take down the left. Honestly, this is so ridiculous. I'm not even necessarily sure how to start off this segment. I don't know. This may be an intro. Who knows? I got something incredible for you. Okay. If you didn't think that we were already living in the sunken place, if you did not believe that the light and warmth has left this plane and only left darkness and sadness, then I have something for you. Okay. I have something quite incredible to show you. And that is on Kanye West again. Yes, I know we're milking the mentally ill man for content. We are, but this time it's actually like really important. The other times I also believe that it was important, but this time it's like really, really important. We do now live in Kalin. We do actually live in Kalin, and 2 new mobs have spawned. All right, the update has just dropped. We are now a part of the. If you thought the Kanye West like Nazism arc was just about over, if you thought he's slowed down, I have to tell you he has not. And the sad part is he's actually sped up, because just today, a couple of hours ago, as of this recording, because I wasn't even preparing to talk about this, Kanye West has come out of the darkness and into the light, and was spotted at a Florida airport in Miami to go to Mar-a-Lago with supposed homosexual, known white nationalist, Latino political commentator Nick Fuentes. Yep, that's the boy, and that's Kanye. It's happened. It has finally happened. If you thought that it was going to be a simple like sort of why I left the left like type of thing going on, no. Why he walk like that? He do kind of walk like a beta. You're right. What the? I didn't even listen to those kids at the beginning. So at the end of the video, who like, yo, that's Kanye. Yo. It's Fuentes even allowed on an airplane. He is on a no-fly list. I don't know. He may have been relieved from the no-fly list, or he drove. I don't remember. But I do know at the very least, in the beginning of 2021, he was put on a no-fly list. I have no clue if he got dropped from the no-fly list, though. If the FBI decided that they were just pulling his leg, they were just memeing on him. Or it's in Florida, so who knows? I don't know if he was just in Florida. I'd like it to stop happening. Yeah, I'd like things to stop happening. So if you're wondering what's going on, Kanye West has, I don't know, here. The really incredible thing about this is that, remember when we were talking a lot about the alt-right pipeline and the right-wing pipeline in like media and content online and just, everywhere that kind of permeates through and kind of is like a through line through a lot of like conservative content period, how you go from sort of like anti-SJW political commentary to literal white nationalist fascism, all this type of stuff, right? It's incredible how we don't even have to sort of like write it out or give like testimonials. We've all been able to see it live with Kanye West. It's incredibly amazing watching the alt-right pipeline still at work go from a sort of like politically disaffected sort of, my eyes have been awoken, I'm not under their control anymore, to just mental instability, loneliness, and separation from your family when it came to the divorce, to radicalization, and then going from that to your average sort of like political talks and being groomed by Candace Owens into right-wing ideology and being groomed by, what's his name? Charlie Kirk. I forgot his name. Tiny-faced Charlie Kirk into like more right-wing content, until he goes from just a sort of like liking Donald Trump and being like, whoa, he's just like me. He's another rich guy who's like not talking to the system, to literally talking to a guy who the general population, if I was to describe his political views, the general population would just know him as, and would just call him a Nazi, no matter how much he really dislikes that turn of phrase, no matter how much he really dislikes that word being used to describe him. Your average person would basically call him a Nazi, being Nick Fuentes, who he's now chumming around with. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But before we get into like a deep dive into like who necessarily this Fuentes guy is, just to make sure that we're all up to date and like why this is so serious and why this is so bad. Kanye seems to be gathering Kanye, Elon Musk, and all other sort of like rich people and political commentators in this area have been gathering up for something, right? It's something bad. We're in like a really big arc, okay? We're in a really important arc, all right? You guys gotta pay attention here. So now it's Elon Musk who's now been unbanning and using his money, power, and influence to allow like right-wing agitators and commentators who were banned for like hate speech, slurs, all of this type of stuff, like dehumanization of like minorities. He's allowing them back onto the platform why a lot of like left-wing accounts are getting banned now for almost no reason, and trying to bring about like free speech when it's basically speech that I agree with and speech that I don't like still gets banned. I mean, it's not like these people are getting banned out of non-ideological reasons. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Yeah, it's like the anti-Avengers. It's like a league of villains all coming together. It's a cast of villains all coming together who are all working separately, doing their own villainy at all points, at all like corners of like the political sphere and globes, have all started to coalesce into one like weird quivering amalgamation of political cringe. Right? This is our soul society arc. You're right. It is our soul society arc. You know what? So true. So true. Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Okay. We have to protect Karakura Town. We must. Okay. Well, I need to protect my friends. Anyways, so now there's Elon Musk who wants to team up with Kanye West, who's gone incredibly anti-Semitic, and Donald Trump, who is simply just racist. And those two, and like under them, they have underlings, okay? And it's like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. Candace Owens. And now they added more people to the fray, even more radical than those clowns that I talked about. And now we're talking about like, when it came to Elon Musk, he was having people like, he was having a bunch more like, now he's chumming around with people like Andy No and Tim Pool and people in that space, and libs of TikTok, right? Chaya Raichik of Brooklyn, New York, who was a real estate agent but now lives in California. And now under that, they've gone even more crazy. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to normie political commentators. Now they want to go to the even more insane people, as Kanye specifically gets radicalized. And now he's in cahoots with Nick Fuentes and also Milo Yiannopoulos. I would like to show you this. This dropped 3 days ago. And here's Kanye West speaking with a reporter who went into one of his offices. And you can just take a guess who was actually there with him.
Welcome to the office. It's Milo right here. How you doing, Milo?
How you doing, Milo? So, would you take a look at that? This is Milo right here. How you doing, Milo? Milo Yiannopoulos. Ah, Milo. Once famed British turned American conservative political commentator, once darling of the far right, and used to be the far right's Dave Rubin, until he became even more crazy and they had to drop him by him saying that child-adult relationships were actually strengthening bonds in young boys. He believes that child and adult sexual relationships actually strengthen the will and resolve of young boys. Oh yeah, I forgot. Jangles made Milo Yiannopoulos actually cry in a debate once. Isn't he a PDF file? He says his backstory is basically that he got that when he was, I don't know, in church or something, or when he was young, he was sexually abused as a child. And he came out to say that the sexual abuse actually made him stronger and it's good for young boys. It puts some hair on their chest, that type of stuff. This is the type of guy. He was then banned from everything and disconnected from everything, and went to go to sell overpriced statues of Jesus Christ with televangelists. It seems like he's come back from his hiding place and he found a new home with Kanye West.
Campaign. Oh, right on. Is that an announcement? I guess it is. Thanks. I
accept. Well, no, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Don't play anymore. I don't want to hear any more of that. I don't want to hear any more. No more. No more. Since we did a little bio on our good friend of the stream, Milo Yiannopoulos, we can also do a tiny bio here on Fuentes Boy. Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist live streamer who advocates for pulling the Republican Party even further to the extreme far right end of the political spectrum. An outspoken admirer of fascists such as Mussolini, Fuentes emerged as an influential figure of the national stage during the now infamous Stop the Steal movement, which relied on misinformation to falsely claim that Donald Trump had won the 2020 election cycle. I wouldn't even necessarily say this, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Fuentes was around for longer than this. Emerged as an influential figure on the national stage during the now infamous Stop the Steal rally. I wouldn't even necessarily say that. I feel like Fuentes was on the national stage even before this, in like the Gamergate era, when he was building up his America First movement. This is back in like 2016, 2017, when he was really building up power. And then when 2020 rolled around, it kind of, he was building up power for a long while, and then it burst. And then in 2020, he emerged because he was in national newspapers. Everybody was talking about him. He was growing a lot of power, and then it all popped. And then he was kind of like picking up the pieces after Unite the Right rally, or as many people would know it, which was its official name by the people who were, there terrorizing people. But, the like far right Charlottesville deadly rally, where a bunch of far right commentators and people from around the country were all gathered in a protection so they can suck the metallic cock of Robert E. Lee's racist horse's penis. in Charlottesville, because they didn't want it to be removed, that like racist Nazi rally that happened back then. But almost all like far right figures after that happened kind of disappeared. Fuentes is still around, as well as a lot of other figures are still around. They're just kind of hiding. They're hiding in the shadows these days, thankfully. But Fuentes still has a lot of money, mostly because during around the 2020 Stop the Steal rally and riot at the Capitol, he was donated millions of dollars in Bitcoin by a secretive French millionaire days before he died, or I think like a little before he died, something along that line. And now he's like going around spending his money trying to rebuild his power and regain his power and influence over the far right in an effort to push the country rightward and ban immigration, ban Jewish people holding much or if any power whatsoever, build like a white ethno state, ban minorities from like coming in and staying in the country, moving them out, all that type of normal white nationalist type stuff. One thing you need to be a little careful about is people like this, they love to like mess with words. And so basically he doesn't like the term Nazi, and he says he doesn't like Hitler. I think it was because he thought that Hitler was too nice to gay people. It was something along those lines. Oh, my bad. I remember why he doesn't like Hitler. He doesn't like Hitler because the Nazis weren't like as religious as he wanted them to be. Like the Nazis didn't base their Nazism in like Catholicism or Christianity, and so that's why he doesn't like Adolf Hitler, and that's why he doesn't want to be called a Nazi specifically. He'll say that Hitler is bad and he doesn't like Hitler. Then on top of the fact is he'll get really mad if you try and call him a white supremacist, because the games that these like people like to play is that white people are superior to like a lot of like brown people, except for two groups of people, typically is what they'll say, is Jews and Asian people. They'll say that white people are at this moment in time are below Jews and Asian people because Asian people and Jews on average have like higher IQs and more money. It's his like typical thing, and they run their societies better, and so that's why he's not the real white supremacist, because actually Jews are above white people. And then he'll be like, for now, that type of stuff. That's some wild, weird shit. You can read this entire thing. I'm sorry, we can't read this entire thing here from the SPLC. But if you want to give it a try and like read through his history, they have sources for everything that they say that he actually believes. One of his big things when it comes to the connection with Kanye West is when Nick Fuentes was speaking not too long ago to a group of people, he accidentally let the N-word slip by saying they need to, by talking about the black vote, and instead he said the hard R N-word vote. And he's like, oops, I let that one slip. That's the most important thing when it comes to talking about Kanye West. That and Nick Fuentes' rampant anti-Semitism. But at this point, that seems one of the big reasons for why Kanye wanted to speak to him in the first place.
Animation. Now, the thing is, I skipped over maybe about...
Wait.
Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now, the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish.
So yeah, he pulled up the red media list. The red media list is a long reposted in white nationalist forums list where they find executives who have any connection to Jewish people whatsoever, and then they write in their name as red as being an executive on the list. And so obviously the list will be like, look at all the Jews doing Jew things around. Yeah, massive air quotes Jewish. When it comes to a lot of these people, a lot of them, when they call them Jewish, what they mean is one of their aunts on their mom's side has has like a family, has like a son who's Jewish. So he has like a Jewish cousin. My bad. He has a half Jewish cousin, something like that. And so they'll be like, this person is Jewish. It'll be like their mom's grandma is half Jewish by marriage. And so now they're Jewish, and then they'll write in the list and that they're Jewish. Shit like that. It'll be like this person is 17th removed cousin of this person, and they're Jewish. It does not mean that they're practicing Jewish. It does not mean they walk out of the house and they're yarmulke. Ben Shapiro wouldn't even call a lot of these people Jewish. And that's the really interesting thing that I'm thinking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like the 0.5 Ashkenazi, you know, that type of thing. Where, and like the biggest thing is that I'm wondering is, what does Ben Shapiro think about all of this? You know, what does Ben Shapiro think about like Candace Owens supporting Kanye West and being chummy with Kanye West now that he's not even like saying kind of anti-Semitic things, but he's actually with like Nick Fuentes. And Fuentes and Shapiro, they go back and they don't have a good history whatsoever. I wonder what Ben Shapiro thinks now that like Candace Owens has groomed a mentally ill man into buying her husband's media platform, who now wants a literal white nationalist Jew hater extraordinaire to be his like running mate or in his campaign for the 2024 presidential election. I just wonder what's even running through this guy's head. You know what I mean? Charlie Kirk also on the outs as well. Fuentes hates that guy. Yeah, but yeah, I know. Like, obviously, Fuentes hates all of these, like what he would call, I think, conservative Inc. or whatever. He hates all of these types of people. Obviously, they're not racist enough. That's the problem. And Ben Shapiro's Jewish, so obviously he doesn't like these people. I just think it's very curious what's going to happen. So what do we've got? We have a mentally ill person, a Florida man, a supposed Latino homosexual, a pedophile supporter, and an African to all team up together to try to take down the left or to try to take down the country and install like their own form of governance. This is what we're dealing with so far. When like Florida man's Donald Trump, mentally ill man would be mentally ill divorced dad would be Kanye West. The Latino supposed homosexual and Latino boy would be Nick Fuentes. The African would obviously be Elon Musk. All teaming together. I hate this new MCU phase. Yeah, dude, phase 5 of the MCU truly is remarkable, I must say. I was not expecting Disney to be this daring with the property, but you know, it is incredibly interesting what's going on now. What I will say, to drop a little bit of hopium for you, since we talked about something that seems so incredible, how all of these powerful people are all coming together to try to, I guess, destroy the country. Oh yeah, also, holy shit, what the fuck is dude? Wait, I didn't even check what Kanye West has been doing on his platform. Wait a second. So he got unbanned from Twitter, and this is like one of the first things he said, which was shalom. What the fuck is that? Okay. It truly is an I must say. First time in Mar-a-Lago, rain and traffic. Can't believe I kept President Trump waiting. And I had jeans on. Yikes. What do you think his response was when I asked him to be my running mate in 24? That's very yay. That's very nay. Thank you so much, Kanye West. Very cool. So it does seem like the demons want to gather together their power to try to, I guess, destroy the country. Let me give you guys a little bit of hopium here. Remember the last election cycle that we went through. You can't forget about it. You didn't forget about it now, did you? Did you? Even though the Democrats did indeed lose the House, it was an incredible year. We haven't had an election cycle like this in quite a long time. And it proves what we've been talking about for a while, which is the conservative right has gone too far right. They're crazy. They're insane. And they've lost grip with reality, and they've lost touch with just your average voter. People aren't too happy about the Democrats, but if your choice is a Democrat and Republican, your average person is not going to believe that a Republican is going to do anything good for them. And that's good because it's true. This isn't a sort of like ideological sort of like, I disagree. I disagree with that. When it comes to the things that are just like well known with how they'll handle the country, how they'll handle like social issues, how they'll handle all of these, how they'll handle the economy, Republicans just do worse. I'm sorry. There's not been a Republican president to oversee a surplus in the economy since Eisenhower? Is that right? How long has it been? Eisenhower? The last Republican president who ran a surplus in the economy, even though some people even still believe to this very day the Republicans handled the economy better for some remarkable reason. I think Eisenhower, yeah, it's been since Eisenhower. The last Democrat to do it, just in case if you think that I'm being like biased here, the last Democrat to do it was actually Clinton. Funny, is it not? Anyways, in the 1950s, yes, Clinton was the last Democrat to run a surplus in the economy. It's just different. The policies are just built different. Every single time a recession happens in this country, remember, it's under the watch of a Republican. From the Great Depression to the Great Recession, it's always been in Republicans' hands, and they're doing. The political philosophy is simply horrible for everybody involved. And at the end of the day, can you explain surplus? We're selling more than we buy. You sell more than we buy, basically. The American economy is producing more than we buy. So we're selling more than we buy on the world stage, basically. Is the simplest way that I could put it. Yeah, export over import. We're exporting more than we import. 1929 moment. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they can't surplus the economy when they spend all their time trying to cut their beneficiaries' taxes. They've gone crazy. And this is only proof of it. That now people like with like pedophile supporters and white nationalists are starting to become commonplace in their movement. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. This is what we have to deal with. And I don't want to scare you. I don't show you these things to scare you. I show these things to like hopefully motivate you to do something. Because at the end of the day, you could not want to deal with politics, but politics does want something to do with you. You cannot be involved, but politics is always going to be involved with you. You can not like do anything when it comes to like pushing more left wing or even like centrist views. Honestly, just not far right views. I'd be at least semi happy with. You could not do that, but they're always going to be working. I'm sorry. People like this are always working. People like Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Fuentes, Yiannopoulos, Stefan Molyneux, Lauren Southern, all of these people still to this very day are still working to make your life worse, to put in, to take away your rights, to harm you, to sometimes even kill you. They're working every day and every night to do this. I show you this to hopefully light a fire under some of you to get out and do something, because we do live in a kind of scary time. They are building up power, and we can't just rely on things just working out. There have been so many times in human history where we've just kind of been bystanders. We can't fall to the bystander effect. If you ever wondered what people felt like on the precipice of slavery, of like the Holocaust, of any other sort of like massive catastrophe where there's a massive